Howdy, I'm Randall with the Pennsylvania Association for Rational Sexual Offense Laws. We at PARSOL believe in sexual offense public safety measures that work for all Pennsylvanians, policy based on prevention, and laws that respect both our Constitution and the dignity of all people. Our Commonwealth has a unique constitutional right that explicitly states the importance of protecting one's dignity. The right to reputation can be found in Article 1, Section 1, which reads, quote, "All men are born equally free and independent and have certain inherent and indefeasible rights, among which are those of enjoying and defending life and liberty, of acquiring, possessing, and protecting property and reputation, and of pursuing their own happiness." End quote. How did we get this right, and who developed it? Was it always so clear-cut? Is it still being honored, and how does it apply to people who are forced to register under Pennsylvania's sex offense registry? These questions and more will be answered as we explore this invaluable, yet not so well-known, constitutional right. This is the first part in a 3-part series, so please hit that subscribe button right now. It'll help you get the next installment, but it will also help us grow our numbers so that we can continue to advocate for rational sexual offense laws here in Pennsylvania. So we begin by briefly looking into the life of Pennsylvania's founding father, William Penn. We're here at the State Museum in Harrisburg. William Penn was born in England in 1644, and he lived to the age of 73. He converted to Quakerism at a time when, in England, people were being forced to join the Church of England. He refused to renounce his conversion, and as a result, he was imprisoned numerous times. William Penn believed that people should have the religious freedom to worship God in their own way, and he was relentlessly persecuted for his stance, and this is a stance that we now take for granted. So firm was he in his belief that he once said, quote, "My prison shall be my grave before I will budge a jot, for I owe my conscience to no mortal man," end quote. Penn printed and published his views, and his commitment to speaking out on this issue made him a target. In 1668, he was officially charged with publication without a license, but was accused of a much more serious crime by King Charles II, blasphemy. With the assistance of his Quaker lawyer, Thomas Rudyard, Penn pleaded for his right to see a copy of the charges laid against him and the laws that he had supposedly broken. Although this was a right guaranteed by law, the Recorder of London, Sir John Howell, refused. As Howell was also the chief judge on the bench, he directed the jury to come to a verdict without hearing the defense. Despite heavy pressure from Howell to convict William Penn, the jury returned a verdict of not guilty. When invited by the judge to reconsider their verdict and to select a new foreman, they refused, and they were sent to a cell overnight to mull over their decision. The Lord Mayor of London, Sir Samuel Starling, also on the bench, then told the jury, "You shall go together and bring in another verdict, or you shall starve." Starling then not only had Penn sent to Newgate Prison on a charge of contempt of court for refusing to remove his hat, but he also had the full jury imprisoned and fined the equivalent of a full year's wages each. The members of the jury, fighting their case from prison in what became known as Bushel's case, managed to win the right for all English juries to be free from the control of judges. This sham of a trial only pushed Penn further towards the pursuit of true justice. He continued writing his tracts, espousing religious tolerance and railing against discriminatory laws. Since life in England was only getting worse for the Quakers, he appealed to the king to develop a Quaker colony in the new land. King Charles II transferred a portion of his land holdings over to Penn in 1681, and this was the genesis of Pennsylvania. William Penn needed to ensure that no one in the new colony faced the same treatment that he did in England. So in his 1682 frame of government, under laws agreed upon in England, he wrote, quote, that all scandalous and malicious reporters, backbiters, defamers, and spreaders of false news, whether against magistrates or private persons, shall be accordingly severely punished, as enemies to the peace and concord of this province, end quote. This provision lays the foundation for what would become our current right to reputation in Pennsylvania. It wasn't until the 1790 Pennsylvania Constitution that reputation was officially a constitutional right. Article 9, Section 1 read, quote, that all men are born equally free and independent and have certain inherent and indefeasible rights, among which are those of enjoying and defending life and liberty, of acquiring, possessing, and protecting property and reputation, and of pursuing their own happiness. This powerful language was moved to Article 1, Section 1 in the 1838 Pennsylvania Constitution, where it remains to this day. I hope you found this brief history of a treasured and sacred constitutional right informative. If you did, please give us a like and tell us what other content you'd like to see in the comment section below. There's plenty more to explore with reputation. Join us for our next installment as we dive into the legal battles in the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania that recognized reputation as a fundamental right.